Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you could be. The Stoics built their entire philosophy upon this truth. Freedom, they said, is not the absence of restraint, but mastery over self. Epictetus was once a slave, yet he taught kings and scholars the meaning of freedom. He said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." You see, most people misunderstand discipline. They think it's punishment, control, rigidity. But true discipline is not restriction, it's liberation. It's choosing long-term peace over short-term comfort. It's building the strength to act according to your values, not your impulses. Every day the Stoic mind begins with intention. It does not drift. It directs. Marcus Aurelius began each morning with reflection. Before the sun rose over Rome, he reminded himself that the day ahead would bring difficulty, ignorance, and challenge. But instead of resentment, he prepared his spirit for patience. He wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself the people I deal with today will be ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and I know that the wrongdoer has a nature related to mine." This morning meditation is a practice of mental armor. By anticipating imperfection, the Stoic protects his peace. Your morning determines your mind. Begin with gratitude, reflection, and intention, not noise, distraction, or comparison. Seneca advised. Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life. Each day is a blank page. What will you write on it? Discipline begins with small choices. Rising when the alarm rings. Completing what you start. Speaking less, listening more. Living by your values, even when no one is watching. The Stoic does not wait for motivation. They create momentum. They act not because they feel like it, but because it aligns with who they wish to become. Every day contains thousands of moments of choice between distraction and focus, complaint and gratitude, weakness and strength. The disciplined mind wins these battles quietly. To live with discipline is to live with purpose. The Stoics taught that our most precious resource is not money or status, it is time. Seneca warned, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. We waste our time chasing what doesn't matter, arguing about trivial things, seeking validation from people who don't even know themselves, scrolling through distractions that only numb the soul." The Stoic mind guards time like treasure, because once it's gone, it never returns. Ask yourself each morning, what deserves my attention today? What is within my control? What will bring me peace when the sun sets? Then act with clarity. Discipline also means restraint, the ability to say no, to refuse what corrupts your focus or steals your serenity. Epictetus said, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Discipline often looks boring to the undisciplined, but to the wise it is sacred. It is the quiet consistency that turns weakness into strength. The Stoics practiced restraint in every form: speech, desire, consumption, reaction. They believed excess was the enemy of peace. Seneca wrote, "Nothing is enough for the man to whom enough is too little. The more you crave, the less you enjoy. The more you grasp, the less you hold." The Stoic practices moderation not to deny life, but to savor it fully. They eat with awareness, not indulgence. Speak with precision, not excess. Work with focus, not frenzy. Rest with presence, not guilt. Discipline is balance. It is doing what must be done without being enslaved by it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being." You were not made to lie idle in comfort. You were made to build, to serve, to strengthen your character. When you rise early, when you exercise discipline, when you act with purpose, you align with nature itself. You live as the Stoics lived, harmoniously with reason and virtue. The Stoic routine is not about perfection, it's about persistence. Some days you will falter, some days you will forget, but the Stoic returns to the path again and again, with humility and courage. Consistency is greater than intensity. A small step repeated daily builds an empire of strength. Ask yourself, what does a Stoic routine look like for me? Perhaps it's waking up before sunrise, reflecting in silence, journaling thoughts, practicing gratitude, exercising, and approaching the day with calm presence. Perhaps it's ending the day with reflection, writing down lessons learned, and letting go of what cannot be changed. The Stoic day begins and ends with awareness. Morning, prepare the mind. Daytime, practice virtue. Evening, reflect with honesty. In the morning, ask, what kind of person will I be today? In the evening, ask, did I live according to my values? This rhythm builds integrity. Over time, discipline becomes effortless. What once felt forced becomes natural. What once was struggle becomes strength. Self-discipline is not about denial. It's about alignment, choosing actions that serve your highest self. The Stoics believed virtue is the only true good. Everything else, wealth, fame, pleasure, is secondary. Discipline is the path that leads you to virtue. Through discipline you become unshakable, because when you govern yourself, no one can govern you. Every morning is a chance to begin again, to embody the principles of calm, strength, and clarity. Discipline is the language of freedom. Speak it daily, live it fully. Remember, the Stoic mind does not seek comfort, it seeks clarity, and clarity is born from consistency. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the Stoic mind routine. If these teachings resonated with you, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a lesson in calm, clarity, and inner strength. Remember, transformation is not found in a single moment, but in the daily practice of awareness, discipline, and wisdom. Share this video with someone who could use a little more peace and perspective in their life. Until next time, guard your thoughts, strengthen your mind, and live with purpose. The mind is the battlefield, not the world, not other people, not circumstance. Every victory and every defeat begins in thought. The Stoics knew this. They built their philosophy not around controlling the external, but mastering the internal. When anger rises, the untrained man explodes. The Stoic observes. He feels the spark, but does not fan the flame. He pauses, breathes, and watches the storm pass, because he knows emotion is energy, neutral until directed. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Strength does not come from suppressing emotion. It comes from understanding it. Anger, fear, sadness, desire. Each emotion is a message. The weak react blindly. The wise translate. When anger speaks, it often says, "I feel powerless." When fear whispers, it says, "I am uncertain." When sadness visits, it says, "I have lost what I valued." When desire burns, it says, "I long for connection or purpose." The Stoic listens to the message, learns, and responds with reason. To control your emotions does not mean to feel nothing. It means to feel deeply, without being ruled by feeling. Imagine standing before a fire. You can let it consume you, or you can use it to forge iron. The Stoic does not extinguish emotion, they refine it. Seneca taught that emotion, when disciplined by reason, becomes virtue. Anger transformed becomes courage. Fear transformed becomes caution. Desire transformed becomes purpose. Sadness transformed becomes compassion. The untrained mind is like a ship in a storm, tossed by every wave of feeling. The Stoic is the captain steady.com. Steering through with purpose. When insulted, the average person reacts. The Stoic reflects, "Is this person's judgment of me true?" He asks. If yes, I should thank them. If no, their opinion is irrelevant. And with that, anger loses its grip. The Stoic knows that no one can truly offend you without your consent. Words are wind. It is your interpretation that gives them power. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." These are not mere words, they are a daily practice. A discipline of awareness. When someone wrongs you, pause, feel the reaction rise, breathe into it, then ask yourself, will this matter a month from now, a year from now, at the end of my life? In that question, emotion dissolves into perspective. The Stoic trains himself not to depend on emotional weather. They remain stable in chaos. They know that calmness is not luck, it is training. You train calmness the same way you train the body, through repetition. Every moment of irritation is a repetition. Every temptation to overreact is a chance to strengthen your restraint. In the beginning, this discipline feels unnatural, but over time, the mind begins to obey its master. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." How much of your pain comes not from events, but from your interpretation of them, from replaying, exaggerating, or anticipating things that never arrive. The Stoic quiets the imagination. They focus on what is not what if. Imagine two people caught in the same storm. One curses the rain, trembles in anger, and feels punished. The other closes their eyes, feels the drops, and says, "This too is part of life." The same storm, two minds, two realities. You cannot control the storm, but you can control your stance within it. In the modern world, emotional control is rare. People glorify outrage, confusion, impulsive reaction. But calmness, true calmness, is a superpower. The Stoic mind is not emotionless. It is emotionally disciplined. It feels everything, but chooses its expression. To be calm under pressure is not apathy. It is mastery. It means you have built enough inner space to choose your response, rather than being dragged by reflex. Every time you delay reaction, you sharpen reason. Every time you choose silence over argument, you strengthen presence. Every time you forgive instead of retaliate, you elevate beyond ego. That Stoics understood this long before modern neuroscience proved it. They knew that emotions rise automatically, but reaction is optional. Between the stimulus and the response lies your freedom. Viktor Frankl, a modern Stoic in spirit, wrote, "Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." That space, the pause, is where the Stoic lives. To master emotion is not to be rigid, but fluid. Emotion is energy. You redirect it like a river. You do not dam it. You guide it toward creation, not destruction. When someone insults you, you do not owe them an emotional reaction. You owe yourself peace. When life tests you, you do not owe the world your panic. You owe your own soul your presence. When disappointment strikes, you do not run. You breathe. You observe. You understand that pain, too, has its purpose. The Stoic transforms emotional chaos into calm order. They are the eye in the storm, still, clear, untouchable. Every time you choose reason over rage, patience over impulse, clarity over confusion, you become freer. Freedom is not the absence of emotion, it is the ability to guide it. The strongest person is not the one who conquers others, but the one who conquers himself. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning, "Today I will meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil, but I will not be harmed by them." He began every day by preparing his mind. By anticipating difficulty, he neutralized surprise. By expecting imperfection, he preserved patience. This practice, premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, is a Stoic exercise in emotional readiness. When you foresee the storm, it cannot shake you. When you accept the flaws of humanity, you stop taking them personally. The Stoic trains their mind before life tests it. That is why they remain calm when others collapsed on in moments of chaos. Ask yourself, what would a Stoic do now? Would they react or reflect? Would they panic or prepare? Control begins with awareness. Awareness grows into patience. Patience becomes mastery. A person who controls their emotions controls their destiny. For every decision made in emotion, there is one made in clarity, and only one leads to peace. The Stoic mind does not chase emotional highs or fear emotional lows. They remain centered, anchored in reason, grounded in values. They are like a mountain. The weather may change, storms may rage, but the mountain remains. Emotional control is not detachment from life. It is engagement with wisdom. When you master yourself, no insult can wound, no failure can define, and no chaos can command, because the true battlefield has already been won inside. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Detachment pulls you back from imagination into the clarity of now. The present moment is the only place peace can live. Each morning, remind yourself, "I am not entitled to anything, but I am grateful for everything." The mind that expects nothing and appreciates everything can never be enslaved. Detachment is not indifference. It is higher love. It is loving what is, not what could be. It is thanking life even as it changes shape. When your expectations dissolve, your freedom begins. When your grasp loosens, your soul breathes again. The disciplined and detached mind becomes like a mountain. Storms may come, but its foundation does not move. The winds may howl, but its summit remains in silence. Ask yourself today, what am I clinging to that steals my peace? What am I resisting that I cannot control? Then breathe and let go. You are lighter now. You are freer. Marcus Aurelius said, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together. But do so with all your heart." That is not cold acceptance. It is divine harmony. To live with discipline is to act with strength. To live with detachment is to live with serenity. Together, they make the mind untouchable. This is the essence of Stoic mastery: to control what is yours, and to release what is not. To shape your actions with reason and surrender your results with faith. Every morning you rise. You choose to discipline the mind and detach the heart. Every night you rest, knowing you did your part, and that is enough. The Stoics did not seek to escape life. They sought to meet it with clarity. Discipline gives you direction. Detachment gives you peace. Combine them, and no storm can reach the depths of your inner stillness. Acceptance is not weakness. It is wisdom in its purest form. It is the realization that fighting what already is only multiplies pain. The Stoics did not run from reality. They embraced it, shaped it, and drew strength from its truth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Those words hold the secret to unshakable peace. Life will test you. It will break plans, bend expectations, and shake foundations. But the Stoic sees not an obstacle, but an opportunity to train the soul. Adversity is not your enemy. It is your mentor. It arrives dressed as hardship, but beneath the disguise lies your greatest teacher. When life denies you comfort, it gives you strength. When it takes something you love, it shows you when it humbles you, it reveals who you truly are. Every challenge has two sides: the pain that stings and the lesson that transforms. Acceptance allows you to see both. The Stoics practiced a mental exercise called amor fati, the love of fate. It means not just to tolerate what happens, but to embrace it as necessary for your growth. Imagine saying to every event, pleasant or painful, "I welcome you. You are mine. You are part of my becoming." To love your fate is to live without resistance. It does not mean you stop striving for better. It means you stop wasting energy hating what already is. Resistance is wasted motion. Acceptance is alignment with reality. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Every friction in life, rejection, loss, failure, polishes the soul until it shines with understanding. The Stoic does not curse the friction. He bows to it, for it is the fire that reveals his form. In psychology, this is called post-traumatic growth, the ability to emerge stronger after suffering. The Stoics knew this truth long before modern science gave it a name. They understood that the obstacle is the path, not the problem. When something painful happens, the average mind asks, "Why me?" The Stoic mind asks, "For what purpose?" The first question locks you in suffering. The second unlocks meaning. Meaning turns pain into power. There is a calm that comes from accepting the nature of reality. Everything changes. Everything ends. Nothing is promised. When you stop demanding permanence from what is impermanent, peace enters. Epictetus reminded his students, when you kiss your child, say to yourself that you kiss a mortal. You will not be disturbed if they die. To the untrained mind, these words sound cruel, but to the Stoic, they are a shield. They are preparation for the inevitable. They remind us to love deeply while we can, without illusion of forever. Acceptance sharpens appreciation. When you know something will not last, you love it more fully, more presently, more honestly. When adversity strikes, the Stoic does not fall into despair. They ask, what virtue can I practice here? In sickness, patience. In loss, gratitude. In injustice, dignity. In failure, humility. Every hardship is a training ground for virtue. Marcus Aurelius said, if you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your judgment of them. Acceptance begins with this understanding. Reality is neutral. It is our interpretation that makes it heaven or hell. The untrained mind says, this should not be happening. The trained mind says, this is happening now. How shall I respond? That difference is freedom. The practice of acceptance does not mean apathy. It means clarity. You still act, still strive, still build, but from a state of peace, not panic. You move not to escape discomfort, but to create harmony. There is a strength in surrender. Not the surrender of giving up, but the surrender of understanding. When the mind stops fighting the flow of life, the soul begins to flow with it. The river does not curse the rock, it moves around it, reshaping it with time. In the same way, the Stoic flows around difficulty until it becomes smooth stone. Beneath their calm persistence, adversity does not diminish you, it defines you. It reveals your character, your patience, your faith. Epictetus was born a slave. His body was beaten, but his mind remained unbroken. He said, no man is free who is not master of himself. Even in chains he found liberty in his own thoughts. Freedom begins within, and no external force can take it once claimed. When misfortune visits, remember this. You cannot always choose your conditions, but you can always choose your conduct. The Stoics trained themselves through voluntary discomfort, fasting, cold baths, sleeping on the floor, not to punish themselves, but to remind their minds that comfort is not necessity. When you train yourself to endure voluntarily, involuntary hardship loses its power. The more you can accept, the less you can be shaken. Acceptance is emotional armor. It turns chaos into training, pain into purification, struggle into awakening. The modern world runs from discomfort. We hide from silence, numb pain with distraction, drown uncertainty in noise. But discomfort is the soil of transformation. No great soul is grown in comfort. If you wish to be unshakable, do not seek an easier life. Seek a stronger mind. Adversity is a forge. It burns away illusion, leaving only essence. And essence cannot be broken. So, when the world becomes heavy, when plans collapse, when loss burns through your chest, do not ask for it to stop. Ask to become equal to it. Ask for the strength to endure it with grace, to meet it with reason, and to emerge from it wiser. Seneca wrote, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Every hardship you survive adds weight to your wisdom. Every tear cleanses your perception. Every scar becomes a scripture of resilience. The Stoic does not pray for an easy path. They pray for a strong spirit. They do not wish for calm seas, but for skill at the helm. They understand that peace is not found in the absence of storms, but in the mastery of sailing through them. Acceptance and adversity are inseparable. To accept is to transform adversity into ally. To resist is to multiply it into suffering. Life will test you again and again. Until you learn this truth, what you resist persists. What you accept dissolves. Let go of the fantasy of control. The rain will fall, the seasons will change, the people you love will come and go. Accepting this does not bring sadness, it brings liberation. For when you stop clinging to permanence, you begin to live truly in the present. And that is where joy, clarity, and peace live always, and only in the now. Every human being, no matter how calm they appear, fights a private war within a battle against their own mind. You can stand in a crowded city and still feel imprisoned in the noise of your thoughts. You can smile, yet drown inside. Welcome to Stoic Mind Routine, a place where ancient philosophy meets modern resilience. If you seek calm in chaos, clarity amid confusion, and strength through self-mastery, then you belong here. Subscribe, not for entertainment, but for transformation, because today, we begin the work that every philosopher, warrior, and wise soul must face, the mastery of the mind. Close your eyes for a moment and listen. Beneath the noise of the world, there is another noise, subtle, endless, your thoughts. They comment, judge, replay, predict. They can build kingdoms, or destroy peace. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome and student of the Stoic way, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That single sentence could free nations if practiced, but it begins in the smallest of arenas, your own consciousness. This is where every victory or defeat originates. Think of your mind as a workshop of creation. Every emotion, decision, and destiny is first crafted here, invisible yet powerful. If you allow toxic thoughts to remain, they become the blueprint for suffering. If you purify that inner space, you design peace. Awareness is the first weapon of the Stoic warrior. To be aware is to step back from the storm and watch it, instead of being swept away. Toxic thoughts only gain strength when you believe they are you, but you are not your thoughts. You are the sky, they are the clouds. When you observe them without judgment, something miraculous happens. The mind loses its grip. The noise becomes distant. Psychologists call this cognitive diffusion, separating identity from mental chatter. Epictetus called it prosouche attentive awareness. Try it now. Notice the single negative thought. Label it. I see you. Doubt. I see you. Fear. Then breathe. In that simple act you have already won. You have shifted from prisoner to observer. Awareness turns pain into information, and information into wisdom. Every Stoic practice, reflection, journaling, meditation begins here. Seneca wrote, "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary." How much of your pain exists only in imagination? We relive old wounds as if repetition could rewrite them. We rehearse disasters that never come, and we call it preparation. The Stoics called this self-inflicted suffering. A mind crowded with resentment or regret cannot make room for peace. It is like a cup already filled. No wisdom can enter until you pour something out. So pour it out. Write the letter you'll never send. Speak the apology that needs no reply. Sit in silence and let your breath wash the dust from your thoughts. Forgive not because the world deserves it, but because your soul does. Forgiveness is the ultimate act of self-respect. It says, "My peace matters more than my pain." Within every mind there is a voice, harsh, demanding, relentless. It whispers, "You are not enough." It magnifies every flaw and hides every triumph. But remember, that voice is not truth. It is habit. It is the echo of fear, shame, and comparison bouncing off the walls of memory. Each time you challenge that voice, you carve a new neural path. Science calls it neuro. The Stoics called it virtue through discipline. You become thought by thought, what you repeatedly allow to live within you. So when the critic speaks, answer as Marcus Aurelius did. If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining, then move forward. The goal is not silence, it is sovereignty. Let the critic exist, but let it serve you. Its purpose is not to break you but to test your growth. Stillness is not emptiness, it is clarity. It is the calm center of a spinning world. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." 10 minutes of true silence each day can change your mind more than 10 hours of noise. Turn off the world. Sit, listen to your breath. You will notice the mind wandering. Let it. Bring it back with kindness. This simple act is mental weightlifting. Each repetition builds presence. The Stoics called this inner peace ataraxia, tranquility of soul. It is not achieved through withdrawal, but through mastery. When you can sit still in chaos and remain unshaken, you have found power no army can give. Philosophy is not meant for dusty scrolls or marble halls. It is meant for rush hours, heartbreaks, deadlines, and sleepless nights. Apply Stoicism in the supermarket line. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when an insult burns your pride, that is the real battlefield. When anger rises, remember, you will begin to become wise when you learn to wait. Epictetus, when envy strikes, recall, he is a great man who uses earthenware as if it were silver, and silver as if it were earthenware. Seneca. When anxiety whispers of tomorrow, answer, do every act of your life as though it were the very last. Marcus Aurelius, each quote is a sword, each breath is a shield. Use them daily until wisdom becomes reflexed at the end of the day. Light a candle or open a note on your phone and write, what challenged my peace today? What did I control? And what controlled me? What lesson can I carry into tomorrow? This was Marcus Aurelius's nightly ritual. His meditations were not written for others. They were private reminders to stay human, stay humble, stay awake. Do the same. It is not perfection that transforms the mind, but consistency. Discipline is not punishment. It is freedom disguised as effort. It is the art of choosing long-term peace over short-term pleasure. The Stoics understood that the undisciplined mind is a slave, dragged by impulse and emotion wherever they wish to go. But a disciplined mind walks its own path, unbothered by noise or temptation. Seneca wrote, "No man is free who is a slave to his body." Discipline, therefore, is not about control of the world but of oneself. It is the ability to say no when every part of you wants to say yes. It is the quiet power of restraint, the strength of intention over instinct. Modern life trains us to chase distraction. Every notification, every craving, every impulse demands attention. But true mastery is found in selective focus, choosing what deserves your time, your energy, your thought. Each moment you delay gratification. Each time you stay loyal to your purpose, you strengthen your inner fortress. You become harder to shake, harder to tempt, harder to break. Discipline is not about forcing yourself into discomfort. It is about aligning your actions with your highest values. When your daily choices serve your philosophy, you no longer need motivation, you have direction. Marcus Aurelius began every morning with a reminder at dawn. When you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being. That sentence is not about productivity, it is about purpose. When you rise with intention, even the smallest act becomes sacred. Drinking water, walking, working, listening, all become opportunities to live according to reason and virtue. That is Stoic discipline, to turn ordinary actions into deliberate expressions of strength. There will be days when you fail, when you wake late, lose patience, or fall back into old habits. But remember, the Stoic never seeks perfection. They seek progress. Each failure is feedback. Each stumble a lesson. The only true failure is refusing to begin again. Detachment is the companion of discipline. Where discipline teaches you control over self, detachment teaches you peace with what you cannot control. Together, they form the twin pillars of Stoic strength. Epictetus wrote, "Some things are up to us, and some are not." Those 9 words are the foundation of peace. Imagine carrying 2 bags, one filled with things you can control, the other with what you cannot. The wise man puts down the second bag, the fool drags both. We suffer most when we cling to what was never ours, the approval of others, the permanence of youth, the illusion of certainty. The Stoic accepts change not with resignation, but with understanding. Life moves, therefore I move with it. To practice detachment is not to care less, but to care wisely. It is the art of loving fully without demanding possession, of working diligently without demanding outcome. You give your best and release the rest. The Stoics compared life to a ship sailing through storms. You steer the rudder, but you do not command the wind. The sea may rage, but the captain remains composed. His strength lies not in changing the ocean, but in mastering his hand upon the helm. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." That is the heart of detachment, to revoke the power of pain by changing your perception of it. When anger rises, ask yourself, is this within my control? If not, release it. When envy stirs, ask, does this belong to me? If not, bless it and move on. When loss strikes, whisper, it was given for a time. For nothing we love is truly lost, it only changes form. Detachment allows you to live deeply without drowning in emotion, to act fully without being ruled by outcome. It transforms suffering into wisdom, chaos into perspective. Imagine holding a bird in your hands. If you grip too tightly, you crush it. If you hold too loosely, it flies away. Detachment is the perfect balance, the strength to hold without fear, and to release without regret. In daily life, practice this balance. When you plan, do not obsess. When you love, do not cling. When you fail, do not despair. Observe everything. Attach to nothing. Flow with the rhythm of existence.